What does sisterhood mean to you?
Sisterhood is trust, understanding,
love, mutual respect, being able to give, being giving. Yes.
To me, sisterhood is about a shared affinity, because it could be biological sisters, it could be friendships, and it could be sisters that you meet in a certain context.
I consider that a friend that don't take your business and it beat you back to the church, or it beat you back to your job, and you know, you don't have to ever worry about it. That's a true friend.
It's a relationship where you're together with one another through the good, the bad, and the ugly times. And it's a bond that you're sharing spiritually and emotionally. It's your family.
Who taught you how to be a sister?
I think it was a combination of my grandmothers and my mom. I watched my grandmothers calling and checking in on important people in their lives daily. My mom did that as well. And I just watched them care about people. And I picked up those habits as well, just checking in.
My mom taught me how to be a sister. She had 5 sisters, so she used to always spend time with them as well as her friends, going to girls' night out or vacations. So watching her with her sisters and her friends showed me exactly how to be a sister.
Easy. I had 2 older sisters who both challenged me and punished me and loved and supported me my whole life.
Who was your first friend?
Well, my first friendship, again, was my mom. And then this lady over here. We grew up together. And you always have friends that fade away, that fall off. And others will find their way to fall away from you. Because you start with a lot of people that you think are your friends, but it ends up and it's just a handful.
My first friendship was my mom. She taught me how to be a protector. She taught me how to be a nurturer to my kids. And she also taught me what it means to be a hard worker in life.
My mom and dad had 5 girls, so they was not trusting us. We didn't get to go. But we went in, and Gladys Jackson came into our life. They came into our home, and my mom and dad got to know them. And plus they knew their parents. They knew something about some of their parents and their family, I should say. So those were about the only 2 girls that we ever got to go out of the house with, was Luann and Gladys, because my parents trusted them.
My first friendship was with my friends, Shani and Nakia. We grew up on the same block. We were friends, our parents were friends, our grandparents were friends. I cannot remember a time in my life where they were not around.
My first friendship that I can really remember was with this girl named Alyssa, and I was like in 1st grade. And we just used to have a blast together. Like, we had sleepovers, and when I realized how much I enjoyed having somebody's back and knowing that somebody had mine, so I knew that friendship would be important for me, like for life.
In preschool at the Learning Tree, I had a friend there who had ADD, ADHD, diabetes, and my first friend, I just remember being next to them when it was time to take their blood sugar, just standing there being present in their moment when they didn't want to do it, or even when they did, just being there. And that's kind of how I've carried on throughout my friendships. I just like to be there, even when it's not needed. Sometimes you just need that extra person.
My mom had a best friend, and she had a daughter the same age as me, and we knew each other from diapers. Our families moved away at different times, and she was my first friend. She was as close to me as anybody could possibly be. When we were out together, people thought we were sisters, and our lives went into very different paths. And she is not somebody, even though I'm no longer close to her, she is like blood in that I will never not know her.
When I was a little girl, there was my friend lived down the street from me, and She was a very dear friend, and we became very close. She had burns over 80% of her body. So because of that, that helped me to really focus on her inward beauty, focus on what made her tick, and to focus on her, not the things that she had, and not to sweat the small stuff.
How do you handle conflict within your circle?
You know,
listen, pray.
If there is an issue, we talk about it. Right. You know, we express our feelings. We talk to each other without falling out. You know, I say what I want to say. They say what they want to say. And then we compromise. And then sometimes, it's even true friends, it's best to just bite your tongue and not say nothing.
Sometimes you have to know when to listen. Sometimes it's better to understand where the other person is coming from than try to explain your side, depending on what the conflict is, or just sharing your side as well, and both of you trying to find a middle ground instead of trying to figure out who's right or wrong.
We're going to maybe disagree, but at the end of it, we're going to agree that we're still sisters and it's okay. And we remain, and we might walk away for a couple of days, but we're going to come back together because we are sisters in Christ.
What advice do you have for someone struggling to find their sister circle?
Trying to make a friend, you need to be a friend. You have to learn how to be a friend. Open yourself up. Don't expect somebody to just take you in. You got to be open to want to take you in.
Well, if someone is trying to find their sister circle or tribe, they have to be intentional and be clear on what sisterhood means to them. What kind of sister are you? Are you my social sister? Are you my spiritual sister? Because they're different.
Find someone who knows who God is. Find someone who knows how to pray. Find someone who will move themselves away from foolishness. And that's not to say that we don't always do something that's foolish, but there's a difference in being around people who just involve themselves in foolishness. And if you can find women who know who they are and can have those characteristics, I think you have a good chance of finding a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And your friendship changes over the years. Believe it or not, I've been knowing them for 47 years. And as we get older, then our priorities change in life. And then you talk about different things. Now, Jess and I talk about different things we talk about our feelings. I think this year, I probably talk about more of my feelings and how I feel about things than ever before. It's probably due to the pandemic and how I'm feeling and as I get older. So things change. Things that's important to you, that used to be important to you, it's not that important anymore.
Last question. What scriptures do you draw from on your sisterhood journey?
Well, there were a number of scriptures that really have impacted me, but I think the one that I constantly go to is Philippians 4:13, and it says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." So no matter what is going on, I just pull that into my mind, and I focus on that. Because I know that I can do it all because of him.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32, "And be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you." Because friendship goes a long way when you can understand your friends and forgive them, and they can forgive you for any small indiscretions.
So 1 Thessalonians 5:11, encourage one another, build one another up, just as you are doing. And I've been very lucky that so many of the female relationships that I've been able to acquire have been so supportive of me, and they have always constantly pushed me to be better.
I had to go to the book, and I wound up in Proverbs. And so did I. Okay. Well, I wound up in Proverbs 3, 13 through 15, and I'm pretty much paraphrasing. And it says, she is more precious than pearls. She is far more valuable than silver. Any person who is blessed when they find wisdom.
It's not odd that we would go to the same verse.
Yeah.
I went to the same verse, and I have to echo what Rosemary says. Your friend is valued, love, is support, it's all of those things rolled into one. And I think that verse says it all.
Romans 12:10. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourself.